Hi, everyone. This is Khristee Rich, and this is Holistic Me TV. This is a brand new show on YouTube to empower you with your health and wellness. I am Khristee Rich. I am your host. I am absolutely passionate about empowering women with their health and wellness. I have been a holistic healer, a holistic health expert for over 18 years. And so that means that I have helped women with chronic conditions to overcome chronic conditions, chronic illnesses, and trauma through a holistic perspective. And that means getting to the root cause and then treating it mind, body, and spirit, and through natural ways and natural remedies. So I was very excited to expand what I do to empower women around the world and to bring on guests from all around the world as well. So today you're going to meet Shannon Rollins, who is in Orlando, Florida, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to her through her bio. Okay, so Shannon Rollins is a clinical hypnotherapist and anxiety relief expert at Shannon Rollins Hypnosis, located in Orlando, Florida. Shannon has 8 years of experience helping men and women improve their mental health and emotional resiliency through hypnosis, one-on-one coaching, group wellness programs, and courses. Her passion is helping people alleviate anxiety and create inner peace for a healthier life inside and out. Beautiful. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. So today, for those who are not familiar with you and the work that you do, can you take us back? What is your story? How did you get into doing the work that
Oh,
you do today?
so if we start from the very beginning, it actually started when I was 12 years old. I
Oh,
remember at the time, yeah, and this is going, you know how our passions change over time.
yes,
So
yes.
this is a story of passions changing over time. And I remember when I was 12, my grandmother had suffered from a heart attack.
Oh,
And so she was in the hospital. She was just in recovery. She didn't pass away from it. She was
good,
okay. She got
good.
through it. And I remember the doctors were talking about how did like how they have to take her through that recovery. And I
Mm,
remember the one question I had and it kept coming up for me is, but that's not solving the problem.
yeah,
Like you what happens when there's built plaque buildup again? Like what is, oh, we just do another surgery. That was the answer. Oh, we just do it again. We just
yeah.
do it
And why
again.
is it happening? So you can stop it from
And
happening.
why is it
Yes.
exactly? And why is it happening? And that's when it clicked for me to start looking more from wellness perspectives. So then fast forward
Wow,
to
at
that was
12.
always top of mind for me. Yeah, that was always top of mind for me. And then fast forward to, college and going into the wellness space. And I was helping a lot of people, not only with their physical health, but how you had mentioned that holistic overall health. So not only that, but mental health as well. So when I went
Yes,
back to school, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this really boils down to our mental health. And that was my perspective of it. Mind, body, spirit,
yeah,
everything being connected as one. And
yes.
I remember I had another event happen. I had a loss of a family member, and
Mm,
I didn't want to do traditional talk therapy for it. I wanted to see like what else is out there. There's something else. And I was always a fan of alternative approaches. And I remember I went to who is my mentor now. I went to a hypnotherapist and I just said, I need a little bit of help. And the experience for me was so mind blowing. Like when I opened my eyes at the very end, I was like, holy crap, this is what I've been missing. And that same
oh,
exact day, I enrolled to go back to school for hypnotherapy and then to start that as a practice. And
wow.
the rest is history for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was it about hypnosis that clicked for you, or how did you feel from having that first session?
It was really interesting. And you had mentioned root cause, which
Yeah.
I just love that word because it does boil down to that. Everything starts from somewhere.
Yes.
And for me, it was figuring out what are my behaviors and how have they got me to where I am today. And in that very first session, I was able to identify dynamics of what was going on specifically in my life. I had clarity. And for a lot
Mm,
of people, it's that understanding when you can understand why you operate the way you operate or why this illness has happened. Because a lot of times we hear people say, I just want to know what it is so I can fix it. Like, so I can know what not to do or what to do. Like, give me a plan. When you have
yes.
a plan, you feel more confident that you
More
can carry it
empowered.
out.
Yes.
Exactly. So that's what really helped me. And that very first process, like, oh, it was just a ton of light bulb moments, one after the other in that experience for me.
Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful. And for
Mhm.
those who are not familiar, what is hypnosis? Can you describe what it is and what happens?
Yes,
There's a lot of misunderstanding about hypnosis.
there is. I will not make you cluck like a chicken. I mean, unless you want to, if that's your goal. I don't think that's your goal. And
No.
also hypnotherapy is such a different approach. It's a professional, it's a profession.
Yes.
It's a therapeutic profession. And so when we look at it in this way, it's really helping the mind get into an alpha theta brainwave. And when you're in that more relaxed brainwave, which, by the way, when someone's in a deep meditation, they're able to experience a deeper brainwave. The difference between hypnosis is we're using a lot of therapeutic modalities and language patterns that can help someone who maybe always has said, I can never meditate, which is what most of my clients say. They're like, I can never meditate, but it helps you slip into that brainwave much easier. The reason why it works is because when you're in that relaxed state of mind, you're more receptive to, let's just say, suggestion of how you want to feel or how you're going to react to a situation or behave to something moving forward. It also allows more imagination to come forward, more
Mhm.
creativity, and to understand a deeper emotional connection to yourself, which we usually don't get when we're just talking in our normal day to day life and
Yes.
that more heightened brainwave. I have to get this done, that we have so much responsibility. So it's really providing the space to connect on a much deeper level with yourself where change can occur.
Beautiful.
Does that help
And
answer the
yes,
question?
yes, I think it does. So
Okay,
for
great.
people listening, it's not scary. It's very relaxing. You're in control. The person's not trying to manipulate you. They are working with you. And it does allow you to relax and to be more receptive to what the hypnotherapist may be saying and to language and to getting to know yourself better. And so I think this is
Absolutely.
beautiful, right? This is beautiful because a lot of talk therapy, you're just talking, and like you said, you're not getting the insight. And so this seems to be because in hypnotherapy, again, I'm going to toss it to you because this is not my specialty, but you are
You're
getting,
doing great.
am I doing okay? Okay, good.
You're doing great.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the reassurance. So in hypnotherapy, you are getting in touch with your subconscious, things that you may not have been aware of in your normal everyday state. Is that correct?
Correct. And not only that, when we talk about root cause of why things happen to us or the lens that we're seeing the world through, our subconscious mind is wide open from about 0 to 7, 0 to 10 years old. Some people say earlier, some people say up to 12, whatever. It's a young age, a young state
Yes,
of
yes,
mind where you're so receptive. Little kids' minds are like sponges.
they are.
And it's interesting to see a child navigate the world because what you notice is they'll see something happen and then they'll make meaning of it about them. This
Mm,
happened, so this is what it means about me. This happened, so this means, and it can be something extremely minor, like, hey, you have a Z last name, stand in the back of the line. Oh, I'm not good enough. I always need to be in the back. Like, these are
yeah.
how it doesn't even have to be big traumatic events. They can be small meanings and belief systems that we create. And then moving forward in life, we're looking through the lens to support that belief. Albeit a negative belief, it's still being supported in that way. And so when we're able to use hypnotherapy to go back and say, when did this start? What was stacking upon it? And how can we help? I use the word heal part of you, part like heal part of you loosely because I feel like we're always healing every single day for the rest of our lives. That's our
Yes,
job on the
yes,
planet.
yes. We're an
and
evolving project. Yes, never
and
perfect.
we are evolving. We're never perfect, absolutely. And so, but in that way, help really heal
Yeah.
that part of you. that's creating whatever issue you're having. And even chronic conditions, even in some cases, and fertility issues, in some cases, anxiety issues. It just depends on the person and what presenting symptom they're having at that time.
Yes, beautifully said. So I want to start a few things that you've said. So for those who are not aware, yes, it's absolutely true what Shannon has just said, that we are like sponges when we are children. And children hear and see more than we realize. We think that they don't understand, but they are absorbing everything and they are saying that this is fact. And so they develop belief system from the time, I believe, even from the time you're in the womb, you are hearing what's going on, because children can hear in the womb. They can sense what the mother's feeling. If she's going through trauma, they're feeling the trauma. So they are developing a belief system, and they may not know. Well, they don't know that they're developing a belief system. They don't know how much their parents are affecting them, how much other kids are affecting them, just off the cuff things that people may say. And so this may be emphasized through different things that happen in their life until it really becomes a strong belief system, and they don't realize it's taking hold of their life and affecting different choices and patterns they may be making that may seem like self-sabotage, but they don't realize it is their belief system. So I think that is what's so beautiful about hypnosis, is that you can start to get clarity about these belief systems that are so ingrained, and then change them so that people have the freedom to choose a different choice. Is that correct?
Yes, I love that you at the very end how you said the freedom to choose, because you do
Mm,
get choice in
yeah.
it. You can, and sometimes the choice can happen in the blink of an eye, where you say, you know what, I don't need to hold on to this anymore. I always say that negative emotions stay with us because the unconscious mind is trying to teach us something. That's just
Mm,
something that I always say. But
mm,
once we're able to let go of that and say, you know what, like I'm going to choose this path, or choose this way of being moving forward, and I don't need to suffer in that way. And sometimes it's just a change in perspective.
yeah,
Outside circumstances don't even need to change to have that mindset
right,
oftentimes.
right. Just
Yeah,
about going inward. The answers are inside.
exactly, the answers are inside of you, absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So can you say a little bit more about the work that you do? I know you do hypnosis, and I know you do other healing modalities as well. Can you talk about some other healing modalities that you may incorporate in a session?
Correct. Yeah. So I love hypnosis, don't get me wrong. And I love, love, love hypnosis when it's combined with other modalities,
Yeah, why
because
not?
then it's that much more. I know it's just that much more powerful. So
Yeah.
I love to call them hypnotic techniques. However, they are common techniques that are used in the therapeutic world. EFT tapping I've used with many of my clients, especially when a big focus of mine is anxiety that I work with my clients with,
Yeah.
anxiety on all different types of life issues that they're having. But EFT tapping I've helped clients with, psychosensory therapeutic modalities like havening. Havening is a great, and we can go over this too, but havening is a great technique they used to use in the hospitals to help bring the nervous system to a state of calm, where there are certain parts of your body that you can either caress, to bring your body into a state of calm. There's self-soothing
Oh,
techniques.
oh, good.
And then also coaching modalities like NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Those are all perception, thought patterns that can help you. Thought field therapy, also EFT. So I am interested in what works. I want to
Yes.
preface that.
Yes,
I don't
absolutely.
care what modality I'm using, but my biggest goal with a client, and this is what any of you listeners, any listener listening to this, is that if something is not working and you go to, let's just say, some type of healing thing or alternative approach, that's okay, because you're peeling back layers. It's like
Yes.
health is like a puzzle piece. And one day it's going to click for you. And so for me, a client coming in, I look at it as I'm a puzzle piece to your process. and how many different extra things can I bring in that are going to work for you? So this one, not so much. Let's do this instead, or let's try this instead, and really working together to figure out a good plan that works for you,
Beautiful.
especially in your circumstances.
So you're very sensitive to their needs. You're very sensitive that we're all individuals and this technique may not work for everyone. So let's try something else for you. Beautiful. Very important. Great.
It is definitely important. Yeah.
And for those who are not familiar, can you describe what is NLP? What is that?
Yes. So neurolinguistic programming. Neurolinguistic programming was created, I want to say in the 70s. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not
I
straight on the
don't
facts,
actually
but
know.
okay. So Dr. Bandler and Grinder, they're two providers, two therapists, where they actually said, there's something going on with therapy that can be very, very effective. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And so they actually went around and modeled a lot of different types of therapists and said, what are the ones who are super successful doing? And they created an approach based on that. So to put a frame correctly in something like this, a lot of visualization techniques. I'll give an example. Someone will come to me and say, this is the best example that I probably can think of. Someone will come to me and say, I want to give up a food.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, great, because I love this technique. It's called mapping across. So what we do, we have an internal representation of how we see that food. I see an ice cream cone and my mouth is watering. I'm like picturing it in my mind with my eyes closed right now. And I'm getting the feel goods in my stomach. That's the way my body's responding to it. But instead, let's just say someone wants to give up ice cream, a specific kind of ice cream, then we're getting whatever your internal representation. So that just means how your body is perceiving. What are you picturing? What are you tasting in your mouth? What are you hearing? What are you feeling in your body when you think of that food? And we're mapping it to something that you hate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then have you ever had a food where you despise it? You think about that food and you're like, oh my gosh. For some people it's like beets. Some people have chosen alcohol, a college night they had years ago, and they're like, I can never have that again. Like they're mapping. So your mind is very powerful, and we can use different NLP techniques, which are just this quick visualization techniques, which seems like you're doing nothing, but it works. It's
Very
a little
powerful.
wild.
It's very
Yeah.
wild.
And
Yes.
it is. And the one person to help put this frame a little bit deeper is like Tony Robbins. He's the king of NLP. I don't know if you're familiar with Tony Robbins, but um, all of his interventions that he does is NLP. So sometimes it's like doing outside of the box things. So I incorporate his style of coaching in with hypnosis as well. So if someone's in a state of relaxation and we're processing and working through something, then I'm going to help them and pull out my NLP card and use even some techniques that you may have seen Tony do in the past as well.
Okay, great. So NLP is very, very effective for those who are listening. Just like Shannon said, it can break your habits. It can break your patterns that you've been trying to do consciously and really working very hard. And just by doing this creative visualization and the person taking you through, of course, you have to be led. You can't do it on your own. You can stop these very powerful patterns. And so you also have a coaching session. So you really guide them through whatever it is they're trying to overcome, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's something that I provide. Well, I'm starting to provide. I've provided quite a bit in the past, but I'm starting to do it more because I see how effective it can be, called breakthrough sessions, where we're using NLP hypnosis, like mental and emotional release is another thing that I've been trained in that can help. So mental and emotional release is a form of NLP. It's actually specific. You can only get certified at one company for this because it is a trademarked technique. And it's something that was created from Dr. Matt James, where you are doing, it's called timeline work. When you think about the timeline of your life and all the events that have happened in your lifetime, they've created an impact. They certainly have. I
Yeah.
mean, I can think of probably 5 that could create, and positive impact even. It can be a
Yeah.
positive timeline. It could be in your perception, negative timeline, but it doesn't have to be. And so with mental and emotional release, all we're doing is timeline work, where we're helping you go back, feel into that feeling of where this started. And I love that you had mentioned, by the way, in the womb,
Mm.
because I've done natal regressions with people where they go back to the womb and they knew right away, man, like mom was not prepared for this. And then what meaning did they make? I'm unwanted. I'm
Oh,
abandoned.
yeah.
Just a couple examples of, and like you, even the work that you do, I'm sure that you have helped people tap into, where this is coming from in the womb. And so we're going back on that timeline. And again, a quicker way of finding root cause and being able to release it. So it's just another modality where if someone may not want to do a full-blown hypnotherapy style regression, which is kind of a similar thing, but it's much more interactive, it's much lengthier, and it can be a little deeper for someone who may not be ready for it, then MER would be the next step that I would do with them.
Okay. And
Yeah.
again, for those who are not familiar, what do you mean when you say regression? What happens when you have a session and you are regressing them?
Yes. So a regression, what we do in a regression is, and this is a very common, by the way, if you go to any hypnotherapist, not any hypnotherapist, that's a generalization, NLP category. I'm going back on that. If you go to many hypnotherapists, they will do a regression with you. A lot of them are trained in a regression. It's a very long-term technique that's been used in this field. What would happen ideally is you would go in, sit down, talk to the hypnotherapist or hypnotist, and then say, okay, what's going on? Really get to the bottom of the emotions and beliefs that you have tied to that, because that's what's holding on to this. What's underneath your symptom. It's not the symptom, it's the emotions and beliefs underneath that. And we use that to get you in a relaxed state. You're in that hypnotic state, you're just relaxed, to bridge back to the root cause and work with that part of you. Some people would even call it inner child work, by the way,
Yeah.
where you're helping re-educate that little girl or little boy and
Yeah.
reparent them
Yeah. Send them some
and
love.
send them love. And sometimes they don't even want love. Sometimes they
Mhm.
just want to know, hey, you don't need this responsibility. Like, I've got your back. I've got you. That's what I tell all my clients. Make sure to tell them that you got their back. Like
Yeah.
they
And that
don't
you see them, because
carry
so many
anything.
people ignore their
I
inner
see
child.
you.
I see you. I see you there. Oh, you want to play? Okay, I should have some more
You
playtime.
want to
I don't want to work all the time. It
exactly.
doesn't feel good for me. I didn't know it was affecting you too. Okay, let's play. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because that leads into my next point, is that our subconscious mind, I always say it's your inner child. It doesn't have to be, right. It's just a part of your psyche. But I want you to think about, if you're having certain feelings come up, or certain emotions, or even physical sensations in your body, is that coming from your inner child? Is that coming from that part of you that's trying to get your attention and
Right.
you've been ignoring it, and then
Yeah.
it starts yelling at you?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
still ignoring it.
Starts with the whispers. If you're not paying attention, it gets to be louder and louder until it's yelling, and then you can't ignore it. And you're like, okay, okay, I
Exactly.
hear you. I see you.
Exactly.
What do you need?
I see you. Yeah, I've got your back.
So when you're doing these regression sessions, is it always going back to the person's childhood?
No, sometimes it's not. You know what's interesting? I always say what happens in here needs to happen in here.
Yes.
First of all, your mind will not bring anything forward that's not ready to be released. It
Right.
is so good at protecting you and keeping things locked away that even sitting in a hypnosis chair, if you're not ready, you're not
Yeah.
ready. Like your
Exactly.
mind will not do what you don't want. And so, but it's interesting. I'm glad you brought up that question, because sometimes it can go to, let's just say you have a traumatic event. Let's say that someone comes in and they have a fear of driving, and they say, man, I just have this fear of driving and it came out of nowhere. Okay. And we bridge back to 18-year-old them, and they got in a really bad car accident
Yeah.
because they were racing on the road. You
Yeah, they
know how
weren't
we
paying
are with our
attention.
kids.
They were upset at their
We're paying
ex-boyfriend. Who
attention.
knows?
Exactly, instead of their ex-boyfriend. But that they're not a child. Well, it's all perception, but they're not a younger than 10 age range, but that was a moment that had a significant imprint on their life. And maybe they didn't have that fear of driving right away. Maybe their mind was able to keep it locked down until they had capacity.
Mm,
And then that's when people say, I'm having panic attacks out of nowhere. Or, man, I developed this fear all of a sudden. What is this?
yeah.
And so those are some examples of where maybe it doesn't. I've done some regressions where someone's gone back to, I had someone a long time ago, they went back to, their dad was coaching their soccer game. And it was a great memory for them. And I said, what do you think your mind is trying to teach you right now? And their mind was just trying to teach them, like, hey, you have a great support system and you start having a little more fun. That was the conclusion of that session. It was a great session for this person.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to, in a beautiful, wonderful experience like that, I'm not going to say, no, we need to find something negative. That's just not what the mind wanted for that person. And that was exactly what they needed at that time.
Mm. So do you set an intention then, and then whatever happens, happens? Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Good. And
Yeah.
I think it's very important for those who are watching to really understand that during a hypnosis session, again, whatever you are not comfortable allowing the other person to hear about, or even for you to experience, you're not going to experience it. So, we have our security systems in place so we do not re-traumatize ourselves. So I think a lot of people are scared going to a session where they feel like not in control, like what's going to happen, like what's going to spill out of me. But I hope this reassures those who are watching that it's not going to come out if you're not ready for it.
That is exactly right. It will not. I've had people in the past where they say, "Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've never had someone say to me, "Oh my gosh, I wish this never happened." Like, I wish this never came out,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna rip a band-aid off and then say, "Okay, have a nice day," and we not work through, work through whatever it is. But you're peeling back layers and honoring that process of whatever it is. And so it's important when you're also choosing someone in this profession, that you're finding someone who is I'm going to say the right vibe for
Yeah.
you, but finding someone who that you trust, that you are in the driver's seat and they're in the passenger seat,
Yes.
and you lead and they follow. You lead and they follow. Like, and in that process of, you're trusting that they they will not try to, like, force something. When I say force something, I mean, if you're like, no, I don't really want to go there. Okay, let's go
Yeah.
this approach. Let's
Yeah.
try this approach, and
No
really help them get
pushing.
to their
No
goals.
pushing, just
Exactly.
leading, guiding, being
Leading. Yep.
sensitive. Yeah, I think that's very, very important. You want to feel comfortable with the person who is supporting you. Very, very important, because that's how you grow. You feel supported, you can open up, you can learn something about yourself. But if you feel pushed, if you feel like you're getting smaller, that's the whole opposite way that you can heal. You need to feel comfortable. Very,
Exactly.
very important. So wonderful.
With any professional. Yeah, with
Yes.
your doctor, with a talk therapist, with a holistic nutritionist, with anyone. It's That's always number one. You feel
Absolutely.
comfortable with them.
Yes, 100% agree, 100%. So we talked a little bit about the holistic approach and the root cause. Do you also help some clients who come in to understand about their chronic illness, to understand about trauma? Do you work on that as well?
Yes, yeah, I've had a lot of people where maybe they know, maybe they've done a ton of therapy and they come to me and say, you know what? Like, I know exactly where this is coming from. I have a lot of trauma. I have a lot of childhood trauma. Can you help me heal this? And that's what it's the same. It's very similar processes. There's not a cookie cutter approach to this where maybe someone will come in and I'll say, you know what, let's do more hypnotic techniques. Let's incorporate more of like EFT tapping or more havening or more NLP. Let's get you a technique to walk away with and start practicing to bring your nervous system down, because oftentimes if someone has a lot of trauma, the nervous system is just, it's just heightened. It's that alarm system is so heightened. And so a lot
It's
of
that
times it's a
alarm system that
combination.
says it's been too long, not listening to the whispers. I had to get loud to alarm system level. Yes.
Exactly. And so calming it down in different ways too, that'll give someone, ooh, I'm building a toolbox. I have a
Yes.
tool belt. And you have over time, a certain amount of tools, techniques that you can begin to use. And maybe one day you feel anxious or you feel, I'm going to say the triggered word, even though I don't really like that word too much, but you're heightened, triggered about um, something that happened, or someone raised their voice and you're like, oh my gosh, it was a shuddering effect. And you can take a tool out right away and say, okay, it's okay. We're okay.
We're okay right
And so, yes, I've worked with people on trauma, and then also from a chronic illness standpoint, a lot of times chronic pain,
Yeah.
chronic illness leads from, I mean, some great, great leaders, like in the holistic realm with this, like Dr. Joe Dispenza talks
Yeah.
about this all the time, at his healing retreats and how chronic illness affects. And then also Dr. John Sarno is another great, I mean, anyone who has chronic pain, I think that's an excellent book to read, The Divided Mind,
Oh, okay.
by Dr. John Sarno.
Okay. Great. Thanks for the
It's
recommendation.
excellent. Yes, he also has one that's called Healing Back Pain.
Oh,
And it's about, so if you have back pain, pick up the healing. I mean, he's had
a lot of people
people
do. Yeah.
there from reading the book, just reading the book. He said just the awareness of them reading the book, that their back pain has gone away. I was like, what?
Wow, that's crazy. That's amazing. Because again, that's it. Sometimes it's the awareness that people are missing. So, like we talked about, when you're
Exactly.
young, you are like in your little cocoon, you're just living life and you're just going through whatever mommy and daddy say to do. And you're developing all these belief systems and having all these experiences that are creating patterns and habits. And then as you get older, you have some troubles, but it's not until you have the awareness that then you can start to change. And that's what people are missing. They're kind of in the blinder tunnel vision and not understanding, but the awareness will open up so much. It's beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah. You said it best.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit more about how you work with clients. And if you do want to teach us some havening, I'm very curious to learn some techniques that people can walk away with so they have some tips that they can try themselves.
Yes, I would love to teach havening as a quick technique that they can
Yeah,
do.
that'd
I'll
be great.
start with I'll start with havening. So havening is just another word for self-soothing. The funny thing is we actually do havening anyways. It's just, again, the awareness and the intention is everything with any
Yeah.
work that someone does. If you're going to just a quick coaching call, or if you're seeing an acupuncturist or anything, or just going to the doctor, what is my intention for this appointment? What do I want to happen? Tell your mind what you want to happen when you're setting
Yes.
intention every day.
So important.
So it's
Direct that mind. Direct it.
direct the mind where your focus goes. Yeah,
Yes.
that's where the change occurs. And so with havening, you always want to set the intention. Like, what I mean by set the intention, because it's such a popular word, it's just, what do you want to have? What do you want to feel by the end of this havening session? Now, there are certain parts of the body that are excellent for calming. And so I'll go through each one individually. One of them is the top of the head. And it's not like you're not like smacking yourself at the top of the head. It's more of just a gentle like caress in the top of your head. And what I'll do sometimes is I'll even use this as an induction for my clients, and I'll have them close their eyes down and just imagine a happy memory, like a
Mm.
positive, happy memory.
Mm.
And then the second place is right here on the side. So the full face in general, but I just like the forehead and I take feedback from clients. So like the side of the face. And then you notice how it's like very calming.
Yes, you start to slow down. Yes.
You start to slow down. Everyone's speed is different. Some people like to go faster, some people like to go slower. Now, the third one is just your arms, just going up and down. And sometimes it can even have a deeper effect if on the exhale, your hands are going down, and the inhale, your hands are going up. You notice when people cry, some people cry, they're doing this. I do this when I cry. I'm naturally doing this process. It's just with the
Oh,
intention.
okay.
Yeah. And then the fourth one is just like you're washing your hands. So, yep, you're just, and you can even do it, just move around. There's no right way. It's just whatever feels best for you.
Yeah.
So these are the four, over different studies, these are the four places that trigger delta waves to be in a more relaxed state. So I usually tell people, pick one. If you can't caress your face in public, maybe you're just using your hands underneath the table and just
Mm.
giving yourself some positive suggestion. And
Beautiful.
so, yeah, so that's one of the techniques that I'll take people. There's more that I incorporate with it, but that's one where we'll use that either at the beginning of the session, or I'll say, hey, do this 3 times a day. And give yourself positive affirmations, positive suggestions, like each day I'm feeling more calm, or right now I'm feeling calm, or
Mm.
this, my body is going to be free and clear. Free and clear for chronic pain, by the way, is an um excellent word to use. Just free and
Yes.
clear, free and
Yes.
clear.
Yes.
And so that can be an adopted one for someone working through chronic pain as well.
Yes. And also great to know that
Yeah,
people with chronic pain, they can go to hypnotherapist and get a lot of relief. So again, people may not be aware that that is one of the things that hypnosis can help with, right?
absolutely. Yep.
So you
Yep.
said that you help a lot of people with anxiety. So mostly people come to you for what? Anxiety, also, well, I won't put any words into your mouth. What do most people come to you for?
You're so funny. When most people come to me for anxiety, but it's anxiety because of something else. It's
Yes,
either
all
anxiety
related.
because of chronic pain, anxiety because of, it's always so related. The presenting thing that they usually come with is anxiety, but there's always something else kind of attached to that. So ideally, what'll happen is if someone reaches out to me, we'll have a phone call, a free phone call, where we talk through a little bit deeper what's going on with them specifically, because I want to determine that I can help them.
Yes,
Um,
of course.
if I feel that it's something that I'm not really as much of a specialty in, I'll refer them out to someone else that I know. And there's a very large network of hypnotists, hypnotherapists that I know that I can refer them out to.
Okay.
Just make sure they, I mean, if I can't help you, you know what I mean? It's not going to be a fun experience for me or for you. So if I
Yes.
know that I can help you, then that's when we would move forward with our work. Some people end up doing, I would say on average, you end up doing about 3 to 5 sessions. My sessions are a bit lengthier, about an hour and a half to 2 hours long.
Okay.
But we go off of, it's not a tailor, it's a very tailored approach. And so I may on the phone say, this is what I recommend, and you may come and sit down, and based on what comes up the very beginning of that first session, then I'll give you options. I'll say, hey, this is kind of what we've gone through. This is what I recommend. What feels best for you? What feels right for you today? And you can't go wrong. We don't do one thing this day, we'll do it next time you come in, and just keep the momentum going in whatever their goal is.
Great. So everything is customized, everything is tailored. It's a holistic approach. You set the intention for the session, they set the intention for the session, And sometimes you'll do hypnosis, sometimes you'll do NLP, sometimes you'll do the havening. It just really depends on what they need and what works best for them. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, great. Anything else you would like to educate the audience with? Any information, any perhaps myths about hypnosis or NLP? Anything else you would like to add?
Well, what I loved about what you said earlier is you already hit on some of the most common myths and misconceptions. And trust me, if you weren't somewhat skeptical, I would ask questions too, because when I went to my first hypnotherapy appointment, I was so anxious. It was so funny. But if anyone comes to me now, I say, you know what, that's amazing because we can actually use that in the session. Having
Mm,
emotions is okay in the
yeah.
session. If you're anxious, it's okay in the session. Everything is telling a story. Everything is guiding us. The subconscious mind is leaving breadcrumbs on where we need to look in this process. And we're like little investigators with our magnifying glasses. And sometimes we don't have to go back to root cause. Sometimes change can happen just by doing some quick techniques and something clicks finally. And so when it comes to stuff like this, I'll reiterate some of the myths and misconceptions, though, is that, you cannot say or do anything you don't want to say or do. If you really wanted to, you could probably open your eyes and walk out of the room. The best way that one of my clients described it one time is they said, it's weird. I'm so relaxed. My body is so relaxed that like, even if I wanted to open my eyes, I really don't want to because it just feels really good.
Yeah.
Like I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so you want the change. And so we guide you towards that change. Also the clucking like a chicken thing, unless you came in and said, it's my life goal to cluck like a chicken,
I
but
don't
I
know
doubt
anybody
it.
wants to come in and cluck
You could
it
just
like
go to
chicken in front of a stranger.
just go to a stage show. I don't know.
Yeah, there are those. Yes.
Yeah, there are those, but that's also that's not a clinical professional approach. And we're in this together.
Yeah.
I'm just the guide. Your mind is the one doing the work. Those are kind of those final words that I wanted to share.
Okay, beautiful.
Yes.
And also, I think some people have a misunderstanding about regression. They think regression is scary. They think, again, that they may be manipulated, or maybe the hypnotherapist will suggest things that didn't really happen and that they can't remember anything after the regression session. And I think a lot of people also think that therapists that regress their clients, they're also going to past lives, but not everyone does past life regression. Some people only do this life. So I think it's very important for people to understand these misconceptions and to, again, find the person who's right for you. So if you're okay with the being regressed, then definitely go to Shannon and work with her. If you want somebody who can take you to a different lifetime, you're going to have to work with someone else. If you,
I do that as well.
oh, you do. Oh, you
Yeah.
do past life.
I do past life as well.
Oh,
Yeah. So my approach with, sorry, I cut you off. I'm like, wait
that's
a
okay.
minute.
No, I didn't know because I asked before, do
I,
you only do go back to the childhood and you didn't say past life? So tell us about past life regression.
yeah. So usually, and probably why it hasn't been as top of mind for me is because usually if there's a lot going on in this lifetime, I like to clear up this lifetime. What I've seen happen is that people have done a lot of clearing in this lifetime where they automatically go to past life. Like I'll even set the intention for childhood and they're in another lifetime. Or we'll do breath work like that style breath work with hypnosis where they're automatically going back to past life. It's the same approach, except I take them a little bit deeper to go
Okay.
to past life. It's not my specialty though. I will preface I've done it quite a bit and a lot, but it's not something that I necessarily focus on unless someone comes in and they say, hey, like I've done a ton of work and I really want to have this great experience because past life can be very healing. It can help figure out
Yes.
life lessons, life patterns.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. So again, I think it's important for those who are watching, who are listening, to understand it's really important to get to the root cause. And that may be something in this lifetime, something that happened, something traumatic, something that they can remember. And if you can't put your finger on it, it could be from a past life. So for some people, this can blow their mind. They can be like, what? Something in a past life still affecting me now? How is that possible? I am in this life right now, but it's absolutely possible. So some things may be carried down from our parents. Intergenerational trauma is very possible that can happen, but it can be even a past life, even somebody who was not related to your family, but a completely different family, because we don't always go into the same soul family. And that can still be affecting you today. So we really do need to heal. People say that time heals all, but you can see from this example, you can have experienced trauma or something that happened that really affected you that was unresolved, that you didn't resolve in your past life. It's still affecting you in this one. So again, go to that root cause and start there and work with someone who can help you, support you, heal you, and then it's amazing what can open up, what magic can happen, how your life can transform and evolve. So thank you, Shannon. Thank you for being on today. I think our listeners definitely learned a lot. We talked about a lot of different areas: hypnosis, NLP, past life regression, havening. Did I miss anything? Talked about so much.
We did. We covered, I feel like we covered a lot.
We did. And also the importance to understand limiting beliefs start when we are very young, even as early as the womb. So this is something that I'm getting into because, again, I'm writing a 3-book series about holistic childbirth around the world. And it's very important for people to understand the root cause. And it could even be from the womb, as we talked about.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. So where can people go to learn more about the work that you do? How can they get in touch with you?
Go to my website at shannonrollinshypnosis.com. Everything is there. If they want to connect with me on Instagram, it'll be on there. I also have a hypnosis store on there. If they just want to look at some quick downloadables to download, I have everything ranging from anti-anxiety to manifesting abundance to different types of programmings that they can just kind of get into as getting their toe wet. I do not have pain relief yet.
Oh, that would be a good one
but that's in the books.
Okay,
yes,
cool. Coming soon, everyone. Coming soon. Stay tuned.
Coming soon. Stay tuned.
So everyone definitely check out Shannon's links. Just go to the description and click on her links to follow her to learn more about the work that she does. And definitely give us a like if you enjoyed today's episode. If you learned something new, leave us a comment. Let us know what you learned today. We're always curious. And if you have a question, please ask a question. We will circle back and answer that for you. So thank you, Shannon, for being a guest today on Holistic Me TV. Great to have you. And thank all of you for watching today. So again, don't forget to subscribe. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and then you can watch the whole series of all of these amazing guests. And also, don't forget to go back to other episodes that you may have missed. So we have a very exciting season coming up, season 2, which is all about the pregnancy journey. So you will learn more about my specialty in that area next season. But thank you so much for watching Holistic Me TV, and hope to see you next time. Bye for now.